course. This is the San Diego Skillshare, and basically want to talk about what that is, what that means. San Diego Skillshare is basically just a skill sharing network. It's a private online community, and we're just talking about skills that you need to survive. San Diego Skillshare's mission is basically just to create a community of people that are really curious about learning different skills and also about teaching. So we're going to have courses like this that are about 20 minutes long, and basically someone will teach about a topic and introduce it and give you a lot of good information that you might need to know, as well as other resources. All of the courses that we're going to be doing are going to be archived on the site, and that will be a place where you can go review any of them. That's also where PDFs and other files and links will be available for your later study. So today I'm going to be talking about the topic of farming. I'm a farmer. I have a small half-acre farm in Blossom Valley. Basically, the reason why we're talking about farming is because it's all about growing your own food, and with everything going on in the world, I think that now's a really great time to talk about food. I'm standing here today in my greenhouse, and this is where we grow a lot of our cold season crops. So basically the reason why I think it's important to talk about farming right now is because there's basically a few small companies that own most of the food production in the world, and because of that, when food scarcities or different types of situations happen with lower harvest rate or pests and disease, the food supply is affected. So what I want to specifically talk about in terms of farming is decentralizing our food system by creating small farms, and also using regenerative agriculture and permaculture principles to create farms that are sustainable and provide for your family and also community around you. Basically the more centralized our food system becomes, the less diversity there's going to be. We're basically making a monoculture by having these large corporations that own all of the food that's coming into the grocery stores. But what we want to do as small farmers is help educate people to start their own farms, give them business resources, literally offer them learning here on the farm and other small farms in San Diego, where people can actually come and learn the skills. I also have an online course that I'm going to be posting pretty soon, and that you can take if you want to actually be seeing how we would actually be working on a daily basis. So regenerative agriculture is pretty simple at its core. Really, the whole point of regenerative agriculture is we're using everything that we're doing to regenerate soil, both the structure and the biology. And permaculture is having a system where the things that you plant and the things that you have in your garden or farm create inputs for yourself. So the trees that you would have and the plants that you would have would self-fertilize. They would produce enough seed to be replanted. Permaculture specifically is also about taking other living systems, such as irrigation or plumbing, or providing your own power, and basically taking those systems and using them in more than one way. So one great example that I always think of is composting toilets. And you're using your composting toilet, and eventually after a year of it fermenting and all the bacteria breaking it down, it becomes fertilizer. So just taking one system of life and incorporating it into another in order to to benefit your farm. And the regenerative agriculture is really something that I believe in. I have this idea of us as humans, before we go off into other places, it's important for us to take care of the world that we were given, and to treat the earth as best we can, and diversify what we grow, find things that grow well natively, and making our diet a lot about foraging and eating things that are already available here, that already grow well, that require no water, little water, and just creating systems that actually create health and provide for communities. So that's why we're talking about farming. So basically, when I got started in farming, I was recently graduated college. I had 2 jobs. I was working night shifts at Ralph's, and then I would come home and work at Home Depot. So I was working doubles about every day, and I started realizing that although I enjoyed working a lot, I wanted to do something different. and I started looking into sort of alternative energy systems and living off the grid. So basically, I'm just trying to figure out, how can you live in a self-sufficient way. And I think that's ultimately what this San Diego Skillshare is really about too, is just teaching people how to depend on themselves for life's necessities and being surrounded by a community that basically have all the skills that you need to live in an independent, self-reliant community. In researching that, I eventually found out about a guy named Curtis Stone, who I'll leave a link to his YouTube page, who basically taught me, A to Z with farming, especially small-scale farming, which is what I was into because I was really interested in learning how to grow my own food, which eventually led to us selling commercially, getting a license, and all those things. The average age of the farmer right now is 65 years of age, and any industry that the mean age is 35 or older is in decline. So basically what that means is agriculture right now is ready to be passed down to the next generation. Now is really the best time that there's ever been to get into farming. It puts power back into people's hands. When there's food shortages and things like that, it doesn't matter when you've got lots of farms popping up everywhere. That's what we're here for. We're here to provide stability to our community. So the slogan that we've come up with our farm is "We are modern farmers," and I really like that slogan because I want to think about farming in that way. The modern farmer, you're not just an excellent grower. You're you need to know how to market. You need to know how to build a brand. You need to know how to run a business. You need to know how to use the computer, and you need to know how to make videos. I mean, the modern farmer is so much bigger than what farmers traditionally were. My fiance and I started farming about 4 years ago, and we were just farming in our backyard. Like I said, I was watching a lot of Curtis Stone's videos, learning about how he prepares beds and soil, how he chooses seeds, what to grow, what's important to grow, how to make money farming. And we just started in our backyard, planting little 30-inch beds, that were a few feet long, and we tore up our entire backyard and basically planted it out. That's really how we got our start. So basically what I'm here to do today is encourage everyone to look at farming through a new lens, to really understand the importance of growing your own food. It's all about really security at the basics. I want to, with everything that I do on my Instagram and on my website, I really want to educate people how to grow food, and whether that's farming or whether that's just having a personal garden or just growing a little bit of your greens in a pot, it doesn't really matter. But the point is that you're starting to take responsibility for your consumption, and that's really the thing that I really want to spur in people's minds. At its core, growing is really simple, and when you're talking about plants, all that you really need is good soil, light, and water, and then managing those in the proper amounts. It's fall, we're going into winter, and I'm talking to people in San Diego here specifically right now. You can start thinking about a lot of cold weather crops, and cold weather crops can include pretty much all of your greens. Any green that you would want, it's a great time to plant them now. In a pot, in a raised bed, in a garden, like on your windowsill, it doesn't matter. Another great thing to grow are your cabbages, your broccoli, your Brussels sprouts, your all of these sort of kind of things that are traditionally like winter crops. Those are great. You can plant your winter squash now. They will do fine through the winter. You can also plant many of your root crops right now, and they're going to do great. Carrots are a great thing to overwinter. A lot of your herbs will do well. So when thinking about your fall and winter garden, it's really important about your square footage, like making sure that each plant has enough room to grow, watering requirements, and things of that nature. So I've attached a PDF, which is basically going to show you, it's going to help you calculate how much square footage you're going to need for each type of plant for the winter. So that's a really cool thing that I wanted to include, and just another way to encourage people to do it. if you're interested. So the great thing about being a farmer is you're not just a farmer. You're a community leader. You build community. Your farm is a place that people come to. You have a physical location somewhere, and because of that, because of what you're doing, people want to be involved, and that's just on any scale, any person. You're gonna have people that are interested in what you're doing, and the more you expand and you grow, the more that people are gonna express interest. And so it's true about any restaurant. Same thing, as the quality of a restaurant improves, or as people become aware of that restaurant, people want to get involved, and there's becomes this group of people around it, and so the restaurateur basically becomes this basically community organizer, and that's really what I want to do on the farm. I would love to have workshops here physically in the future, where a few people can come, our core group, and can learn skills, planting, and all these different things. So I'm opening that up to anyone who's interested. Shoot me an email or message on Instagram, or however you need to contact me. But basically with the Skillshare, each week someone else is going to be giving a different presentation on it. So we're going to have a presentation on spearfishing and why that's important, and then from there we'll expand our library